In this quick hit, we're looking at imposter syndrome, what it is, why it occurs, and 9 ways that we can avoid feeling like a fraud. Put simply, imposter syndrome is the fear of being exposed as a fraud, that we lack the capability necessary for the challenges we face and are only avoiding being found out through hard work and good luck. Brian Stewart says, the root of imposterism is thinking that people don't see you as you really are. We think people like us for something that isn't real and that they won't like us if they find out who we really are. We'll look at Stewart's research in more detail later. Importantly, it's not a disorder. No psychologist is ever going to give you a diagnosis of imposter syndrome. Rather, it's a reaction or response that falls in the normal range of human experience. Studies vary, however, imposter syndrome is thought to impact around 70% of people across their life. That is, the majority of people at some point feel like a fraud. In Stewart's study, 20% of university students felt very strong feelings of imposterism at any point in time. In an attempt to describe how imposter syndrome works, the researcher Clance outlines what she calls an imposter cycle. The cycle starts with an achievement-based task. It might be a project, assignment, or new responsibility. This is followed by feelings of anxiety, worry, and doubt. The individual with imposter syndrome then typically takes one of 2 possible paths. The first path is the hard work path. This is a period of over-preparation and frantic work. The second potential path is a period of procrastination and avoidance. There's a sense of relief once the challenge is completed. Those who took the hard work path will then put any positive outcome down to over-preparation rather than ability. Those who took the procrastination path will put any positive outcome down to luck. In both cases, even a positive outcome and positive feedback is seen as further evidence of a lack of personal ability, and so the cycle continues. The impact includes anxiety, fear, and self-doubt that accompany new challenges and opportunities. And there's often a reluctance to put your hand up for even greater challenges and opportunities. After all, those challenges heighten the risk of being discovered as a fraud. So, what can you do to avoid imposter syndrome? Well, here are 9 ideas that you can try out. The first idea is to reframe challenges as opportunities to learn and grow rather than as chances to be tested and found out. Bringing a growth mindset to challenges will help reduce anxiety and increase motivation. The second idea is to establish an appropriate standard for your work. Perfectionism and imposter syndrome often coexist. If your work is never good enough in your own eyes, then no wonder you feel like a fraud. The third idea is to reach outside of the group where you feel like a fraud. Research by Brian Stewart and colleagues has demonstrated that seeking support from within the group where you feel like a fraud is generally negative and reinforces the sense of being a fraud, while reaching outside the group to family, friends, and others is generally positive. Reaching outside where you feel like a fraud recalibrates your abilities. The fourth idea is to stop comparing yourselves to others. It's tempting to select people at the top of their game as comparison points. Look to them as inspiration rather than as a benchmark of where you should be. After all, everyone's journey is different, and you will have your own strengths that even your idols lack. The fifth idea is to keep a note of all the positive feedback you receive. When you receive positive feedback, just say thank you. Don't question it. Just transfer it onto a note or a folder where you can review it when you have a chance in the future, particularly if you're facing another challenge. Idea 6, name it to tame it. Most people have imposter syndrome at some point. It's a normal part of human experience and it's harmful, not helpful. Calling it out for what it is can help you to be proactive in reframing your thoughts and approach. Idea 7, seek feedback on your approach and performance. Find some trusted people who can give you balanced feedback on your performance. We all need a cheer squad in life, but it needs to be a cheer squad that we trust to provide both positive and constructive feedback. Idea 8, be kind to yourself. There's a classic piece of research that demonstrated people are more compliant when administering medication to their dogs than they are at being compliant with their own medication. We're often not kind and compassionate to ourselves. Give yourself a bit of a break and treat yourself the way you would treat a friend. And our final idea, number 9, celebrate development and progress. We don't often take the chance to reflect on just how far we've come. Ask yourself, what can I do now that I couldn't do a year ago? Write out a list of strengths and achievements from the past year. By applying these 9 approaches, we can all feel a little less like an imposter. And that's going to help us dramatically, whatever our role is.